G'day guys, welcome to another weekly developer update. Here we are once again with Joe. How are you, mate?
Doing well. I guess this is going to come out post-merge. I hope everything goes smoothly. We're actually shooting this the night of, so might be late for me. I guess it's midday for you. You get it easy.
Yeah, it's currently 1 p.m. at recording time, so probably the merge will go live in about 3 hours thereabouts. So yeah, touch wood, everything does run smoothly and nothing catches fire. And for the sake of the Ethereum ecosystem and the industry as a whole, I wish them luck and everything goes smoothly. So we'll soon find out once this video's live.
Well, we might have a new group of actors by the time this comes out. I hope people hop on Erg, enjoy auto Lycos and the lower temps, and hopefully they tune into the community updates and start learning what this ecosystem is all about. And one thing that I'm pretty proud to be a part of is the open source developer community that we have. So every week on Wednesday morning, and it's pretty loose in terms of time, as because we have a global team. But people come in, they drop updates, they drop GitHub links if they have questions on what they're working on. It's a great way to get engagement, feedback. And when you build open source, it's like public infrastructure. I say that a lot. It belongs to everybody. And as the business developer of the Ergo Foundation, I've told the entire community that if you build open source, I'm on your team, right? Because your code is open, your code is mine. And so I need to have some kind of equal exchange in terms of giving back. And so, people that come and build an Ergo open source, I'm happy to try to help when and where I can.
Yeah, most definitely. Very well said. And I think that sort of ethos, that open source mindset is pretty much carried out throughout the entire ecosystem. So it's pretty cool to see. Hope we sort of see the influx of people that we do have into the ecosystem do carry that forward also. These developer updates, provide a lot of transparency and updates and key updates for a lot of the major projects, even minor little things like a Telegram bot. People provide their updates in here and are quite proud of everything that they're working on. And to be honest, this is one of the highlights of my week, actually jumping in and exploring what everyone's working on in the ecosystem.
No, I agree. It's one of the highlights of my week too. It's interesting. I hope that as the ecosystem evolves and grows, like that type of, mindshare mentality and overlap continues, because it makes everybody better.
Yeah, most definitely. All right, so let's jump in and see what people are working on. So first up, we have Mr. Straffelger. Do you want to take him away, please?
Sure. Mr. Straffelger is the developer of the Android and iOS mobile app. He's also got a desktop build that's in development. This week, he was working on Mosaic. He completed Mosaic implementation for iOS, and it will land in version 2.1 release. Those of you that are new, the Mosaic framework is basically a UI for the phone that any application can potentially support without needing to build their own unique front end, which is a pretty nice thing. And it also gives you like the in-wallet user experience. So it looks like the tasks that he's working on next are adding token information screen and ergo auth to the desktop port. And he's implementing more Mosaic sample apps, which means he's kind of helping put together potential UIs for anybody that wants to pick one up and plug it into what they're building. Yeah,
great utility there. And it's just easy to do. Anyone who has the Ergo mobile wallet, just a simple little button down the bottom, you can jump on there, and I think SigUSD, SigRSV you can purchase on there, and you can see that they're implementing some more samples as well. So moving on, we have Ladopixel, and I'd just like to say congratulations on getting the raffle funded. So hopefully that carries you in good stead moving forward to be able to provide some more content. So just on the ergotutorials.com side, so updated the tutorial. So for sending multiple tokens. So thanks to MGpai for the ErgoPad side of that. So very happy that the raffle was crowdfunded. So just like I mentioned, on the ergowallets.org side, there's a new version which is already live and created a repo to receive feedback and for future improvements. You can jump on there, and if you want to see the video example, just jump on the Discord there and click that little button.
Nice to see.
Moving on, we have Captain Nemo.
Sure. So Nemo is the developer of Nautilus Wallet. Looks like they've pushed version 0.5.2 out with full GraphQL support as the backend, new asset icons, and ergo.getBalanceAll method for the dApp connector. With GraphQL, you replace the address index by ErgoTree index for both addresses and ErgoTree query parameters. So this will allow them to optimize the Explorer database by removing the address index in the near future. He's reviewing some PRs, and they've released version 0.3.7.
Sweet. And on to Alex. So just on the node development side, he's finally has a memory footprint during sync that's under control. So the main issue was uncontrolled fetch of the next block sections to download and not back pressure from the processing actor. So there's a PR ready for that one and doing a description currently. It's doing some back testing on the 5.0 interpreter on all blocks and doing a final review of the 5.0 interpreter code. And then just on other matters, just continuing to audit the Dexy contracts.
I'm happy he was able to find and fix that memory footprint issue. That's something he's been chasing for a couple of weeks on the side. Big win. So next we have greenhat and the sigmarust crew. They've implemented the wallet rescan only from bootstrapped pool height. Looks like they're working on translation field names in EIP27 JSON format. And they released version 0.20.1 with it. They fixed the Oracle bootstrap by switching from storing P to S in contract parameters to ergo tree bytes. And they're digging into a prover error that popped up and some testing with multisig. It looks like after the contract format fix, he's successfully bootstrapped a new Oracle pool on mainnet and is fixing issues on the Oracle startup. No Oracle box yet. Besides that, he's been looking up ZK rollups and ZK Starks. We've created a layer 2 channel where people have been discussing potential rollup solutions and how they fit in Ergo. One nice thing about Ergo is it's pretty generic, actually. So, you know, whether it's state channels or Plasma or ZK rollups, we have a lot of flexibility in terms of the layer 2 solutions that we can support. And then one nice thing about that is we'll figure out what fits best in what application, and hopefully we see a lot of open source development and it plugs in across, you know, applications in the ecosystem. So it becomes common that way. As we grow, we kind of scale with lower layer 1 usage. Yeah,
it's great to see that channel come to life, actually, because it hasn't been alive too often, too long.
No.
And there's some extremely fruitful conversations going on in there and a huge influx of users also. So it's great to see.
Yeah, it is.
So moving on, we have Luivatra and the Paideia update. So he's currently moving away from using multiple config boxes with each config value in its own register to one box per DAO. So storing the configs in an AVL tree. So created some test cases for validating proxy contracts for the Plasma staking setup so that the new intern can have a go at it. So other than that, he's just doing a lot of groundwork and restructuring in the code surrounding the contracts to ensure that they can expand in the future. And then on the ErgoPad side, they're moving away from the AWS and towards bare metal servers. So that should be much cheaper in the long run and then also improve performance and uptime. Good to see him thinking about that sort of side of things also.
Yeah, it is.
So moving on, we have Morphic.
Sure. So he's been working on Sigma. Looks like he's finished cross-compiling Sigma's upstream dependency, dbox and ScoreX utils to Scala.js. He tried different tools to cross-compile Bouncy Castle to JavaScript. The most suitable for Sigma.js is TVM, implemented POC project with some methods cross-compiled, working on consuming Bouncy Castle JS to Scala.js project. Looks like he pushed Sigma version 5.01, a PR that looks like Alex will review. Also had some discussions in Discord and various reviews. Next up, he's going to continue to work on Sigma.js, cross-compilation of Sigma to Scala.js. That's a big joint project right now that Morphic, Hainan Burr, which I actually think is next, and Nemo are working together to try to create a new software development kit that's in parallel with the app kit that's in JavaScript instead of SigmaRust. So that's going to be big for just ease of use, and I'm really excited to see that come together. Hopefully get passed into the community, get some tutorials, maybe even see it in one of the next rounds of Deco. That would be pretty amazing as well.
Yeah, most definitely. Break down that barrier of entry and provide a scripting language that a lot of people are familiar with in JavaScript.
Yeah.
So next up, we have Anon BR. So on the infrastructure side, had a lot of discussions and tests on Explorer optimizations, and had a discussion with Pragmaxim on the UExplorer. So that's a new Explorer build that he's currently working on. And then just on the ledger front, investigated a way to display recipient addresses and hopefully get a rig of 10 tokens limit per transaction, which looks promising. And the Tesseract team is currently on that one. And just to elaborate a little bit above, that was above on the Sigma.js, so just assisting Morphic and with a cross-compilation for Sigma. And you did mention Nemo's working on that also, I believe.
Yep. All right. Next, we have Dead IT, Dimitri. He does a lot of front-end work across the ecosystem. Looks like he's working on Sigmaverse. Completed migration to a new backend for all projects. It also loads faster than the previous version. Today, we'll end landing carousel migration to the new backend. Looks like he's got some technical debt that he's playing with there. Updated backend endpoints and data. Next, he's going to add your project form and filters for projects. That way, if someone out there is building in the ecosystem and wants to be added to that website, sigmaverse.io, there's a way to easily do that. Looks like he also added Chinese and Russian support. So pretty cool.
Yeah, most definitely. A lot going on there. So the Sigma server side, basically an ecosystem overview, a lot of the dApps and developer tooling and mining pools, wallets, numerous things are listed on there. So it's like a one-stop shop of sort of everything going on in the ecosystem. So by all means, jump over there and check that out at sigmaverse.io.
Yeah, it's huge. I remember when it was kind of just a baby with a couple projects, and now, it's kind of overwhelming to look at the index.
I think the last time I counted, it was upwards of around 80 or so various projects or dev tools, wallets, etc., like I sort of just touched on. So yeah, significant upgrade. So moving on, we have Pragmaxim. So he's currently working on a supplementary Explorer build. So that's UExplorer. So just currently covering everything with more tests and discussing the query part with Anon BR. So I want to check that out. By all means, jump onto the GitHub there. And next up, we have scalahub.
All right. So scalahub is working with Alex on spec EIP to implement outsourceable SigmaJoin. That's going to be a big improvement in terms of the mixing protocol, where if it's outsourceable, that means you can plug it into things a lot easier. So it will become more of a gateway. I'm excited to see that. Next up, he's reviewing the Dexy contracts that he's put together. Those of you that don't know, Dexy is a new, I don't want to call it stable coin because, you know, it's not really backed like by a stable asset. We were actually going to spin it up with gold, I believe, first, but it's a way to collateralize an asset and create a synthetic using a crypto backing. Kind of a new framework that's been coming out. Pretty excited to see that from the market.
Yeah, it's an interesting concept because not backing it with a fiat currency, backing it by a commodity or a basket of commodities in the long run. Who knows where that sort of framework can come, where it ends up.
That's my hope. That's actually like it's a riddle in our space to some degree. Like if you have a stable coin, okay, you're now pegged to the purchasing power of a fiat currency, which I thought crypto was supposed to replace that, right? You know, versus creating a store of value based basket, I think is quite a fascinating framework to play with.
Yeah, most definitely. So next up we have Sepehr, and on the ergo-graphql, so just completed height filters. So you can now specify a min height and a max height as inputs of related queries. Has reviewed the address refactor by Captain Nemo, and just a work in progress has batch IDs for transactions and tokens. So instead of using a single ID, these queries now get an array of filtering IDs to return, and then just a single ID is flagged as deprecated and will be removed soon. And next up, we have Ilya from Spectrum, and I'll just follow on with this one just so I can swap it over. Just on the Explorer front, there's a new instance configured and synced, and the request caching has been implemented. And then on to Spectrum. So just on Spectrum, on the core side, they're just preparing the infrastructure for the Vasil testnet. The liquidity mining contracts for the Ergo side are still a work in progress. And then on the back end, they've implemented the app that requests data from the Ergo analytics. This data is essential for the one stage of the token launch, and preparing requests for the database. And then the requests caching has been implemented on the Ergo Explorer backend. And then onto the front end, there's a couple of things that we'll see in release, which is 3.1.0. So ErgoPay support for all AMM operations. It's nice to see. A new font for the plain text, and the Cardano testnet UI is currently sort of being played with. And then just continuing work on the liquidity mining, so yield farming UI. Also made some SEO improvements for the website. And next up, we have SpookyErgo.
All right, so Spooky Hunt has an update for us. They integrated Nautilus wallet on Spooky Hunt. So now users can connect their Nautilus dApp connector and play Spooky Hunt. Looks like they are searching for an ErgoScript developer to build them a smart contract. So please DM SpookyErgo if you're out there. You have some ErgoScript experience, because they're looking for a developer to support their project.
Yep, good to see. Next up, we have the Ergod with the Night Owl update. So they have a special announcement. So they're set for a beta launch on October the 18th. That's about a month's time from now. So just on the front end, they're testing Matomo analytics, and they're just cleaning up and smoothing out the website styling. And then on the back end, just working on Nautilus functions and continued work on their back end services. And then just other. So currently today, the recording of this video, the community has created an initiative to basically say what they like about their ecosystem. So what makes it fun, and I just had a bit of play on words in regards to what I like about the ecosystem. And it's basically everyone's involved, all the people involved, the people behind the scenes, the people in the on the front of the screens, as we sort of are now, but the developers, everyone like that. So we all play our part in the ecosystem. I think it's a fantastic initiative here to see that be organised by the community itself.
Yeah, me too. I actually tweeted, and then someone was like, "Ah, you can't be in this contest," and so I said, yeah, I opt out. So
Yeah, I liked
I
the
was
comment.
I was excited to see community just take over, right?
Yeah.
And that's big progress.
Yeah, I think it's worth mentioning also that we are a grassroots community and ecosystem. So if anyone has an idea, by all means, propose it. That's what a couple of guys here, Andy and Che the Ergod, sort of did, and they rallied around. There's a nice prize pool that's available for people to who create sort of as much engagement and sort of hype around what they sort of say. So yeah, by all means, just reach out and or don't even have to reach out. Just go on and take your initiative and run with it.
Yeah, I'll get on there later with my little Twitter tip bot and pay my rewards because I
around.
I didn't end up on the list, but I was going to support that. So I'll do
It's
that
nice
later.
to see. So next up, we have MGPis with ErgoSapiens.
Sure. So ErgoSapiens is waiting on examples of V2 NFTs to integrate proper encoding. And it looks like he's also testing and modifying the lottery contract that Comet came up with. So they actually delivered something. I'm proud.
For those who aren't aware, Comet is the meme coin in our ecosystem. And yeah, we like having a little bit of banter with them. It's good to see. So next up, we have Liquid Phase and the Swamp Audio and Terahertz update. So last week, they released the alpha PHP Nautilus connector package. So just in case anyone had missed it. The smart contract for the mutual base agreement is complete, and then the on-chain tests are successful. Just now has Crass that's wrapping up the package and creating documentation for their dev team to start creating their front-end transactions. So it's just going to work with ErgoPad team this week and to get the DAO Terahertz staking contract and the pool set up for the Terahertz holders to stake through dao.swamp.audio. So progress is picking up, which is great to see. Next up, we have QX and ErgoPort.
Sure. So ErgoPort is creating all kinds of little bots, neat tools across the ecosystem. They created a bot to show all tier 1 and tier 5 Aneta Angels currently posted for sale on Sky Harbor with their rankings, numbers, price, and floor. Wrote a snapshot script to record Aneta Angel wallet holders, even if they are currently listed on Sky Harbor. That way people can receive airdrops. Mostly done updating the hash rate command in Graph to grab some Ergo API instead of 2 miners. Then looks like
it's the command there for the bot. So /EP help.
EP help completely rewritten to actually be useful. Yeah, and there's a couple of social media bots I've seen on Telegram and a couple other. I think just Telegram actually.
No, it's a great initiative because there's a number of sort of different use cases that ErgoPort itself has, and this is just one of them, being able to display the NFT side. But they've got an interesting sort of concept also where you can basically just track your hash rate as a miner. So if there's a fluctuation out of a certain parameter or range of parameters in regards to, say, your hash rate, and it drops, it'll send and notify you. So you get a little notification on your phone, things like that. Really useful.
Yeah, that's actually big, you know.
Yep. So next up, we have LGD with GuapSwap. So finished the erg to token guard contract. So we can now implement the library for the GuapSwap enabling mining portfolios. That's a huge use case actually for miners. And then the guards are remaining. So the erg to erg, base token to base token to erg, base token to token. So they'll help with the Babel fee EIP. So that'll enable them swapping Neta from the sub pool, for example. So not having to hold erg itself, there'll be multiple sort of different ways you can sort of provide that liquidation sort of side and not having to hold erg itself.
Yeah, it's big.
Yeah. And so next up, we have haileypdll.
All right, so what's going on with Blob's Topia? That looks like they progressed on weapon support for the Blobs. They did a Medium overview article that's available. They upgraded Ergo libwasm to 0.20.1. Next, they're going to finish the weapon features, and the PvE event will be implemented. And those of you that don't know, Blob's Topia is a game with fighting blobs that's coming out. You can read their Medium and catch up with what they're doing.
Yeah, it looks fun. So here's another significant update from Quwin. So on optimistic rollup. So like we were touching on earlier with the layer 2 side of things. So it's been a little bit of a long time since he's provided an update. So here we go. So submitted an initial design post on the Ergo forum. If you want to check that out, the link is there. And thanks to the discussions that he's been having with Cheese Enthusiast, found out that a core issue of that first structure requires trusted sequences. So he's then pivoted the structure to require full transaction transparency on the layer 1, worked on optimizing transactions and compressing layer 2 transactions to maximize the TPS, and has settled on a structure similar to ETH's, but adapted to the Ergo's EUTXO model. So the performance of the new structure averages less TPS than ETH's layer 2, but it's more efficient in certain scenarios. And if you want to check that out, he's got a graph down below, and it is probably stressed, so it's a rough estimate. So working on design and implementation of forward proofs for the new L2 structure, and the forward proofs increase in size with L2 transaction limits, and so requires Erg layer 1 to scale to create forward proofs without impacting the TPS. So that prevents spam attacks to slow their layer 2. And added the L2 input limits to reduce the potential forward proof size to a maximum of 1 megabyte. And then currently in progress is optimizing the forward proofs to allow more efficient L2 transactions and forward proofs, standardizing the forward proof size so that the pessimistic case forward proof is not several times larger than the optimistic case. Implementing forward proofs in ErgoScript, further optimization of the L2 transactions, work on executing the first layer 2 transactions and forward proofs on the testnet, working on the structure for sequences, brainstorming optimal tokenomics for a POS L2 while preserving the decentralization. And for anyone that was interested in the derivative contracts from way back there, kind of working on that, implementing the design layer on the L2. So still looking for assistance in all parts of the L2 design, feel free to DM or at them at Quwin, or simply just drop by on the L2 channel, as frequently posted questions are posted and answered there. As always, looking for potential improvements. By all means, join in the conversation if you have anything to sort of to say there. Quite a significant update on that one.
Yep.
Oh, and just scrolling down, one last thing. The Erg L2 structure, the chart above, I forgot to put as a note for all token transfers that are on the Erg L2, so rows 2 to 5 and 8 to 11. The Erg's model also allows native Erg to be transfers as well as the token itself. So that should improve the effective TPS for the transactions when necessary. Then just also looking into potentially having 0 Erg boxes that are not beholden to the same rules as Erg on layer 1. And that would increase Erg's model to make the token transfers more efficient than ETH's, but may lead to spam. So just working on a little bit of game theory there with that one. Scrolling down, Kushti looking for someone to review a Docker-related PR. And then next up, we have Exle.
Sure. So Exle has been working to migrate to 4.0.10. Fixed up contract issue with call long, thanks to Cheese. So thank you, Cheese, for helping them out. Looks like the API is semi-done. And front-end UI is being worked on by Torch the Mall's team. Can't wait to see that front end come out.
Yeah. And just on the social side of that, we've seen a couple of tweets running around where a lot of people have actually been trained on the ground for to be able to receive and request loans for Exle. So I think that's pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
Next up, we have the big cheese enthusiast. So the get block update. But just on subpooling, he's created the Neta Phase 3 and integrated plasma contracts into the new pool. He's going to work on making things more efficient and fixing small bugs. Then on the layer 2, still doing research into the new share proofs. Ran through a few different scenarios where dishonest miners attempt to take advantage of the algorithm, but so far has not found any way to break anything. And if the share proofs are proven to be working well, then this could be a huge breakthrough for decentralized mining. And then just on Deco, the first ErgoScript class will be starting at 9 p.m, which will already be concluded by the time this video is released.
Awesome. I hope they release it on YouTube. I know that was pretty valuable last time. There was a lot of people that were too nervous to attend in person, so they were waiting for like the YouTube to get the secondhand class.
So next up, we have a non-real.
All right, so in Unreal is the developer of Ergo Auction House. It's been live since 2020. Looks like they're going through their V3 update. Looks like they're moving auction contract related code from front end to back end. It's done so far. Artwork collection and auction standards are implemented in the back end. They're adapting the back end to the testnet to ease the testing procedures. Testnet node is under setup. They've added a versatile API endpoint for collections, capable of storing and filtering artworks of collections based on different criteria. Currently working on optimizing some of their APIs, such as caching computational intensive information. And as many of you may have heard, the auction house is doing an IDO through ErgoPad. The first version of their white paper is ready with a solid roadmap for the auction house. They will share it shortly. Their own IDO landing page is already up. Looks like the white paper and landing page will be released shortly. They also came out with a new logo. So if you see that new logo, make the connection. Luckily, they didn't change their name, so I'm not going to be calling them Ergodex for a year, but I like the new logo they came out with. Ergo team contracts are going through another redesign to allow for additional and new voting mechanisms as a feature in the future without needing to change the contracts. So that's big to see.
Yeah, it's great to see. Pretty major update that they're sort of proposing also. Complete rebrand, doing the IDO. So a number of sort of benefits there if you actually hold the auction house token. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how it all sort of plays out in the future.
Yep.
And in our last update, we have just one from Cloudy on the get block. So they have a fully clustered hyperscale performance explorer deployed, and can be accessed by the community at the links below. So there's a UI, API, and the GraphQL, which is a new link there. So by all means, jump on there and check that out if it interests you. And that wraps up this week's weekly developer update. I think you can sort of see that there was quite some significant updates there. It's awesome to see the community sort of rally there and provide these updates. And a lot of people are pretty interested and are pretty keen to actually get their updates out each week.
Yeah, no, the best part, I think, is just the collaboration. Somebody's researching scaling solutions and says, hey, does anybody, want to review, want to test, want to provide feedback? That's ultimately going to create just good ideas, right? We need to build an open source marketplace of good ideas. And when we do that, we then build tools and frameworks that can be plugged in. And when someone comes in with some passion and wants to do something, they have, a tool set to draw from and mind share to pull from. So I'm really proud to always see that every week.
Yeah, exactly. Just makes the barrier to entry, the bootstrapping process to be able to come in and spin something up a lot easier. And you're not having to reinvent the wheel 50 times over to try and sort of get to the same place. So we saw a new DApp connector there that was awesome to see different languages sort of being put out in PHP for the Nautilus side. There's a React package there also. So yeah, there's multiple sort of different solutions, and the cross collaboration between projects, between people working within those projects, cheese enthusiasts going on and helping on the education front. It's awesome to see everyone get involved.
Yeah. So those of you that are out there that are interested, you may want to check out Deco if you're a new miner and you want to learn about Ergo script, how it works. Yeah, I do know that they've dropped some of their past content on YouTube, and I imagine that even their current classes will be released on their channel, to where if you can't attend in person, or maybe you're just a bit shy, you can still hop on, learn, and hopefully one of these days show up in the developer update. We're always happy as a community to see new people hop on, and that just adds to the team.
Yeah, exactly. Don't be scared to ask questions, because there's multiple people who will jump in and help you out. So there's no silly questions here. I'd just like to say that the Ergo hack is currently open for registration also. So if you want to check that out, the theme itself this time is mining and minting. So if there's any use or utility that you can see as a miner, or you could see benefit miners, or from the minting side of things for tokens or anything like that, by all means jump on and submit your proposal. Even in the incubator channel, you can sit there and then discuss different ideas, and head over to the website, which is ergohack.io, for more information on that one.
Yeah, the incubator's been big. I think of the past Ergo hacks, more than a couple of winners have just started from community members that had an idea. Some cases didn't even know how to build it, but a good idea is a good idea, right? And if you can plug that in with the right engineering team, the right front end side, you can build some neat stuff. So feel free to participate. It's always welcome.
Yep, exactly. All right, guys. Well, that sums up this weekly developer update. It's been a pleasure talking, Joe, once again, and look forward to chatting and talking to you, providing the updates further going forward. Thanks very much.
Yeah, always a pleasure.
Take care, everyone. Have a good one.